Hello everyone. I'm present here in Singapore at the regional office of IEC, and together with me I have the IEC President Jo Cops. So we're just going to discuss the importance of IEC, the standards of IEC, and what do we need the standards for. So Jo, it's a pleasure to meet you here in Singapore. So
thanks for having me.
Let's start with the question of why is IEC present globally?
Well, you said it well. IEC is an international organization, an international standards organization, first of all, but also an international organization that is taking care of conformity assessment. We believe that the challenges that we are facing as an organization, but also in society, need to be tackled on an international level. And that's why we try to bring different stakeholders together within the IEC, be it people from the academic side, be it people from the industry, be it people from governments. They are all invited to participate in creating international standards that can be used on a local level, sometimes with adaptations, I should say. And starting from an international perspective is really helpful to tackle those challenges.
So you could take the approach of being an exporter in a specific country. What is the importance of the IEC standards in that perspective?
That's a great question, because we have many people who try to innovate. We have new startups, and they're all working on new products and new services. And of course, they don't want to limit themselves or their products and services to a specific market. They really would like to go very broad. And what is better than using international standards? Because technical challenges have been addressed already by other people before, and their findings you can find in international standards.
So it's a kind of global ticket, or a ticket to the global market for the exporters.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary indeed.
And taking the perspective of being importing goods to a specific country, what is the importance of standard in that respect?
Well, if you bring products to your country, then your government can use international standards to verify whether products are built according to those standards. It's also very much linked to testing and verification, to conformity assessment. Conformity assessment systems are being used also to support market surveillance, because that's what we are talking about here, right? So therefore, the international approach is really helpful.
Do you see any other means of removing technical barriers to trade and standards? I mean, that would be a huge task to agree on the regulation between countries or regions. So does standards really solve that problem?
Well, I think standards are really contributing to that, in the sense that governments, they can decide, well, we need to implement a local standard or a law even. Yeah. But it would be much better for them to refer to international standards in their legislation, because they know that standards have been created by consensus, right? So those standards are agreed upon by different countries, but also by different stakeholder groups.
Right.
And that is what are these are the strengths basically of international standards.
Right. So I mean, failing to accept an international standard also has a cost. I mean, if you have a specific country and you say, I don't think that standard is
we
good
don't
enough,
respect that standard, or
then it has an additional cost for the consumer in that market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because additional testing and verification according to the specific local requirements would be needed, and testing and verification are costing money.
Yeah, and I think also if you have problems with one or any international standards, you can join the system and to contribute to make it even better if you think there's a need for adjustments.
Absolutely. We try to invite as many people as possible, as many experts as possible,
Right.
from different countries, but also from different groups. We try to be very, very inclusive. And we see that many people from industry have very big interest in standards, because they know that, as I said before, those standards are international standards, and that allows for them to export products to many more markets. It's growing their market. It's not just their country, but it's opening up their market worldwide.
So you said it's kind of an open arena, so everybody can participate in this standardization development.
Yes, and you know that we are organized by country, one vote.
Yeah.
So we have a platform on an international level with very many different technical committees that have their focus areas. But what is happening is that on a local level, those technical committees are mirrored.
Yeah.
And then, for instance, in your country, in Norway, you have very many mirror committees. And you create them if there is a need. If there is no need, or if there is no demand from your market, from your industry, then you don't create mirror committees. But if you do, then you try to open up those technical committees to as many people as possible, right?
Yeah. So I mean, typically in IEC member and national committee, the adoption rate of IEC document is quite high, maybe like 75 to 80%.
Good to hear that. Good to hear that.
So, but what is the situation globally? So I just gave you the figures in Norway, but what is the typical situation in other IEC?
Well, it's very dependent from country to country. Some countries do pick up standards more easily than others. There's still work to do for us on the level of IEC to attract more countries, to inform more countries about our activities, to reinforce what we are doing, and that will be helpful for everybody in the end.
Right. You also have a regional regulation, like in Europe you have the European Union that makes regulation and directives and so on. Does that bring any problem to the global trade?
Well, not really, I think, because coming back to what you are referring to Europe, we have the Frankfurt Agreement in place, where we offer what is being done on an international level to the regional level, and in case of electrotechnical standards, electrical standards, there's an adoption rate of about 80%, which is a lot. So many of the standards in Europe are a copy, if I could say so, from what has been developed on an international standard, which is good, which is great for Europe, of course. But there are challenges, of course, because it's limited to one region. But people feel that this model that we have developed between IEC and Senelec in this case, and which is based on what we call the Frankfurt Agreement, is very helpful and a very good means also for industry to get their products to the market.
Right. So if you are typically exporter in industry in a specific country, to gain access to global market, you really need to map up the relevant IEC standard, as they are also related to regulation in both your own country, maybe a regional regulation, and also in the global trade agreements as well, or it is also accepted in the global trade agreements, IEC standards.
Well, the WTO, the World Trade Organization, is specifically referring to standards in their guidelines, and also referring specifically to IEC as an organization. So that is very helpful for any company, I think, that is in business.
Yeah, right. So if you are promoting global trade standard is a very obvious
They are key.
way forward.
They are key.
That is a good conclusion, I think. So
Absolutely.
thank you very much, Jo, for enlightening us on this subject. And back to you guys. I hope that this was enlightening on the aspect of standard and importance of standards in global trade, and also the importance in different domestic